faced the Boston Celtics, who absolutely blew them out. Remember back on opening night, that was October 21st, the Celtics were 30-1 to win the Eastern Conference, the fifth shortest odds in the conference. Now, Boston is the favorite to come out of the East at plus 250, according to DraftKings Sportsbook, the shortest odds they've had to win the conference all season long. So last night, Jaylen Brown was out sick. Naimish Keita rested, and yet they still won by 27 points. DraftKings thinks that they should be the favorite. Do you guys think they should be the favorite in the East right now? Vince, what do you think?
No, I don't think they should be the favorite just because there's too many question marks surrounding the potential return or likely return of Jason Tatum and what that's going to look like in the acclimation process. I think we all romanticize what he's going to look like when he comes back. I keep going back to it. It'll be 280 or so days between the injury that he suffered and him coming back if he comes back March 15th. Kevin Durant is the template for this. KD missed 588 days, double the time that potentially Jason Tatum is going to miss. March is the heaviest month in terms of games in the NBA. Teams are playing and loading up for the playoffs. Asking Jason Tatum to come back to that high-pressure situation, acclimate himself, find himself being the number 2 option next to Jaylen Brown amidst all of this, and then saying the Celtics get acclimated to him with this new team. This isn't the Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis team of last year that was championship tested. This is a different ball club, and I'm saying, it's Perk, I'm not saying that they can't get to the finals. I'm saying that more teams have more equity with how they've played this season that I would put in front of them as of this moment. It's too big of a question mark for me to say Jason Tatum's going to come back and be Jason Tatum. I had to see it.
All right, go ahead.
Vince, you're making my damn skin crawl this morning. You really are. You really are. You talk about the Celtics with this unknown. You talk about the Celtics with this unknown and Jason Tatum. You know, the Cleveland Cavaliers, they have a lot of unknowns. Can James Harden live up in the pressure moments? We've seen him fold like clean sheets. Can Donovan Mitchell lead a team just to a conference finals? We haven't seen that ever in his career. The Detroit Pistons, and I'm high on them, they lack shooting. They lack a lot of experience, right? The New York Knicks, is Karl Anthony Towns and Mike Brown ever going to get on the same page and be consistent with their relationship and his offensive establishment? When you look at the Boston Celtics, they have the most championship experience out of any team in the Eastern Conference. Joe Mazzulla's system hasn't changed. Far as getting Jason Tatum into that system, it's the same system they had when they won the NBA championship. Hell, they shot 50-plus three-point shots last night. And when you think about their interior defense, I love what the big fella is bringing in the middle. I love Vucevic coming in off the bench. They have guys that are bought into their system. They play their roles at a high level. They have the guy that should be leading the MVP race right now in Jaylen Brown. One could make an argument that Peyton Pritchard could be in the conversation for most improved, and Derek White is Derek White. So when you think about the East and how wide open it is and how many unknowns, the Celtics still, right now, have the most championship experience out of any team in the Eastern Conference.
It ain't help them last year when they got bounced in the second round with the Knicks.
Go ahead, Stephen A.
Okay.
You heard that, Perk? No, listen, here's the deal. The Celtics should not be the favorites in the East because I think that the best team in the East is the Detroit Pistons. It's that simple to me. It's not even about Boston's experience. I know Boston's got the experience. I know they can knock off anybody. I know they got the potential to beat anybody. Last night, everybody ain't Milwaukee. You rest Jaylen Brown because of his illness. Naimish Keita, this cat got rested as well. He didn't play last night, fresh off of scoring 27 and 17 against the Philadelphia 76ers, and they still beat the Milwaukee Bucks because Peyton Pritchard and some dude named Hugo Gonzalez looked all world against Milwaukee last night. This should tell you everything you need to know about Milwaukee. That's not going to be the caliber of playoff teams that the Boston Celtics are going to go against. I get where Vinny's coming from in terms of being concerned about Jason Tatum. I think those are legit, and I don't think he should be rushed back. But in the same breath, it's not even about that as it pertains to these Boston Celtics. Jaylen Brown has stepped up. Derek White is a stud. Obviously, Peyton Pritchard has really elevated his game. Joe Mazzulla really knows what he's doing. Their formula is their formula. Their identity is their identity. But, again, they lost last year to the New York Knicks in the playoffs. That's not to say they couldn't win this year. I'm just looking at the Detroit Pistons, and I see a beast. They've gone against the Boston Celtics 4 times this year. They beat them 3 times. I look at Detroit as being the best team in the Eastern Conference, and the impediment, the roadblock that everybody in the East is going to have to deal with. That is why I believe the Celtics should not be the favorites in the East, simply because I think that the Detroit Pistons are legit.
No, I'm with you on that. I believe that Detroit should be the favorite right now. But let me go back to this Knicks point. I love the Knicks also was led by Tom Thibodeau last year. Let's not sit up here and act like we haven't seen throughout the course of this year the Knicks have identity problems or we question their physicality and their defensive effort. So that's why I'm not just blown away by the Knicks, but I agree. Detroit should be leading the race, but I'm not sitting up here, saying that it's a wide gap or the gap haven't gotten shorter when it comes to the Celtics and them having a legitimate shot of coming out of the Eastern Conference. They're the most dangerous team in the East because they have no expectations and they're playing with house money with the most championship experience in the Eastern Conference.
I tend to agree with you, Perk. We also don't know what we're joking about the floor. We also don't know what their ceiling can be. So we'll see what happens with the Boston Celtics. Speaking of Jason Tatum, where did he go to school? He went to Duke. Duke, very good. Stop me if this before. Duke has won the ACC outright. Happened just last year as well. Well, the Blue Devils beat NC State last night, 93-64. They were led by, of course, Cameron Boozer. He had 26 points and 9 boards. So Duke remains number 1 for the second consecutive week in the AP poll, backed up their ranking by earning its second largest road win over NC State in their series history last night. You know it's March when this guy joins us. Coach Seth Greenberg is with us now here on First Take. Good morning, Coach Greenberg.
Good morning, Shay. Stephen A., how's life?
What's up, big time, man? How are you? Good to see you, Coach.
Any better? I couldn't stand it.
Yeah, love to hear it. So, Coach, Duke's only at 2 losses on the season. They're basically blowing teams out, yet I have to ask this question. How good is this Duke team?
They're Final Four national championship good. I mean, and it starts on the defensive end. Their identity's on the defensive end. We can talk about Boozer, and he was raised to play in the NBA. I mean, the manner in which he carries himself. But Dame Sarr, since he's been put in the starting lineup, he absolutely takes out the head of the snake. He guards your point guard to your small forward and takes that person out. Defensively, the way they're connected, how hard they play in the defensive end, enables them to get out in transition and play ahead of the defense. And then offensively, when you have a guy like Boozer who's so efficient, all right, he rebounds it. He knocks down threes. He's a willing passer. He leads them in points, steals, rebounds, assists. He does a little bit of everything. In fact, if you compare him to Cooper Flagg last year, his numbers are even better. So when I look at this Duke team, national championship, they went to the Final Four last year. National championship is within their reach. I like that they developed an 8-man rotation. This Duke team is real, but there are some roadblocks along the way.
Coach, one of these days you and I are going to have a discussion. This guy, John Schreier, the head coach for the Duke Blue Devils, I want to say this on national television. I think he's done an amazing job to follow up Mike Krzyzewski. And there has appeared to be zero drop-off. Not in talent, not in recruiting, not in coaching. The guy has done one hell of a job, and he deserves to be credited as being one of the elite coaches in college basketball. Having said that, I'm shocked at the North Carolinas, the North Carolina states of the world, programs that's within an 8-mile radius or 15-mile radius, and somehow, some way, this guy still gets all the players, and y'all are looking up at him. I mean, damn, this ain't Mike Krzyzewski you're going up against, supposedly anyway. It's just amazing to me that the guy is still in the position, that Duke is still in the position that they are. Having said that, first with Boozer. This guy says he's never scored less than 14 points a game in a game this season. Give credit where credit is due. When we talk about the Petersons in Kansas, the Bonzas in BYU, the Flemings in Houston, and others, where do you put Boozer in that conversation when we think about the elite players in college basketball and what we're looking forward to coming in the upcoming NBA draft in June? Speak to me about that for a second, Coach.
Cam Boozer is an absolute can't miss. His approach, his maturity, his physicality. People say, well, you know what? what does he do great? He does everything great. You know what he does great? He wins. He's part Paulo Banchero, part his old man. Great hands, first to the floor, great teammate, can shoot the three, plays out of double teams, can drive closeouts, defends on the perimeter, defends in the post. But more importantly, it's the intangibles. It's his approach. The dude's approach is just different.